If your dog yawns while you hug them, they are not sleepy. They are having a silent panic attack. You think they are just settling in for a cozy moment, but you are actually ignoring a polite plea to stop. They are actively trying to manage a flooded nervous system. Stay with me until the end, because what your dog is silently asking for in that exact moment is something most owners spend years never knowing. And once you understand it, you will never force a hug the same way again. And I will save the most heartbreaking microsignal for last, the one that changes how you see every quiet moment with your dog. You lean in, wrap your arms securely around your dog for a warm hug, and they suddenly let out a massive, exaggerated yawn. Almost everyone assumes their dog is just suddenly sleepy or incredibly relaxed in your arms. A 2020 study from the VCA Animal Hospital's Behavioral Division found that yawning in non-sleep contexts is an acute stress displacement signal designed to actively lower their escalating anxiety. That yawn is not a sign of exhaustion. It is an internal pressure valve releasing invisible steam. They are trapped in conflicting emotional drives, feeling totally immobilized, but trying desperately to calm themselves down without hurting the person they love. Next time they yawn during a tight embrace, simply drop your arms and take half a step back. But that is just the beginning of what they are trying to tell you. You pull out your phone, pull your dog close against you for a quick selfie, and they rapidly flick their tongue over their nose. Most owners think they are just tasting something in the air or getting ready for a treat. A 2018 study from the Journal of Veterinary Behavior found that quick, out-of-context lip licking is a primary pacifying behavior designed to diffuse perceived physical threats. Your dog doesn't understand the concept of a camera. They only feel the intense, unblinking stare of the dark lens and the sudden physical restriction of their movement. That tiny tongue flick is a biological white flag. They are quietly begging for the emotional pressure of the room to drop. Tonight, if you see that rapid lip lick, put the phone down and softly blink your eyes to show them they are safe. The danger only escalates when we misunderstand this next behavior. You ask your dog to sit or stay in a busy environment, and instead of listening, they suddenly sit down and vigorously scratch their neck. You probably assume they suddenly have an itch or are just stubbornly ignoring your command. A 2016 study from the University of Milan found that sudden, out-of-context scratching is a neurological displacement mechanism triggered by cognitive overload and acute frustration. They aren't ignoring you at all. Their brain is simply short-circuiting under the pressure. The environment is too loud, the expectation is too high, and their nervous system pulls the fire alarm. The rapid scratching is a desperate attempt to ground themselves in their own body when their mind feels completely overwhelmed. Next time they randomly scratch during a command, stop asking for the trick and walk them away from the chaos. If you think that is surprising, watch what happens right after a stressful moment ends. You finally let go of your dog after checking their paws or brushing their fur, and they immediately perform a vigorous, full-body shake. Most owners think they are just settling their fur back into place or shaking off dust. A 2017 study from the Journal of Applied Animal Behavior Science found that a dry shake is a biological reset mechanism used to physically discharge cortisol after an intense encounter. It is an etch-a-sketch for their nervous system. They are literally shaking off the anxiety and physical tension that just built up in their muscles. They survive the uncomfortable moment, and this is their biological way of letting the fear go. Never interrupt a dry shake. Stand perfectly still and let them finish completely. But the highest stakes come from a behavior that feels like a personal rejection. You lean your face right up to your dog's nose to give them a kiss, and they deliberately turn their head to the side. It is easy to feel slightly offended, thinking your dog is just being aloof, grumpy, or completely disinterested in your affection. A 2014 study published in Animal Cognition found that a sharp head avert is an appeasement gesture used specifically to cut off direct eye contact and de-escalate a perceived confrontation. In canine language, a face-to-face stare is a direct challenge. By turning their head away, your dog is actively choosing peace over panic. They love you so much that they are intentionally diffusing a situation they perceive as highly charged and potentially dangerous. When your dog turns their head away from your kiss, do not pull their face back toward you to force it. Which brings us to a sign of panic that hides in plain sight. You are sitting calmly on the couch watching television, and your dog is resting beside you, panting heavily with pulled back lips. You likely assume the room is just a little too warm, or they are still recovering from a long walk hours ago. A 2019 study from the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine found that shallow, rapid panting in a cool environment indicates sympathetic nervous system arousal and acute thermal stress from anxiety. Their internal engine is overheating from worry, not physical exercise. It is a silent alarm bell ringing rapidly inside their chest. They are sitting perfectly still on the outside, but on the inside, they are running a marathon of sheer panic. The next time your dog pants heavily for no physical reason, gently check the environment for a new sound, smell, or invisible stressor. And ignoring this final warning sign is the most dangerous mistake an owner can make. You are gently holding your dog's collar to clip on their leash, and you notice the whites of their eyes showing in a half-moon shape. Most owners think their dog is just looking around without moving their head, or perhaps giving you a guilty, funny look. A 2015 study from the British Veterinary Association identified the exposed sclera, often called whale eye, as a primary biological indicator of fear and impending defensive aggression. That sideways glance is a frozen moment of pure terror. They are too scared to look away, but entirely too paralyzed to move their body. They are watching the threat with everything they have, silently praying that the intense pressure will pass before they have to react. When you see the whites of their eyes flash, immediately soften your grip and lower your physical profile. If you actually want to understand what your dog is telling you, hit the like button right now. Fun fact, it actually turns into a little paw when you do. And write your dog's name in the comments right now. Tell me if they have ever yawned or licked their lips when you hug them. I read every single one. Now let's keep going, because what comes next is the one most owners never see coming. Which brings us back to that simple hug on the living room floor. You wrap your arms around their neck, pull them tight against your chest, and they let out that massive, exaggerated yawn. You smile, assuming they are simply settling into the comforting warmth of your love. But this is the most dangerously misunderstood moment in all of canine language. Your dog uses these tiny microsignals, the yawn, the rapid lip lick, the subtle head turn, to politely ask you to stop before they are forced to use their teeth. It feels heartbreaking to suddenly realize we have been ignoring their silent panic attacks for years. We scroll through old photographs on our phones, seeing their pinned back ears and flicking tongues, and suddenly the heavy reality of their discomfort washes over us. We thought we were giving them profound comfort. We were actually applying immense psychological pressure. But pause there for a moment. Do not let the guilt win. Think about what is actually happening in that tight, restrictive embrace. Your dog is trapped in a primal state of fear, feeling totally immobilized by the person who controls their entire world. Yet, instead of snapping out of pure instinct, instead of fighting back to survive, instead of breaking your absolute trust, they deliberately choose to swallow their own panic. They deliberately choose to politely communicate their discomfort. They are choosing conversation over conflict. Your dog trusts you enough to ask for help without ever raising their voice. That is not a failure of your bond. That is the most profound gift of patience and love a dog can ever give. Tonight, when you see that out-of-context yawn, that rapid lip lick, or that sudden bodily tension, immediately back away. Drop your hands to your sides and give them the physical space they are silently begging for. Watch how quickly their breathing slows down when they realize you are finally listening to them. Share this with someone who loves their dog and deserves to know this. Not for this channel, for them. We are here every week decoding what your dog has been trying to tell you all along. They deserve to be understood, and so do you.